Atlantis ILIO USX and what it can do for the data center, but perhaps most importantly in this case, how you can add it to your portfolio of products, build an increasingly profitable and high-margin business around this, as it is quite a differentiator as we look to the software-defined data center and things moving forward. I'm involved with a new part of Atlantis, which is the field enablement team, which is pretty much a testimony to the seriousness with which Atlantis Computing is focused on increasing our partners' profitability, increasing partners for that matter, and our work with alliances and strategic companies to build an ecosystem that really drives the industry forward. I'm joined today by a couple people within that department. We've got Jeff Keyes, whose focus primarily is on the business and sales enablement components of working with our partners in our field. I'm also joined by Rick Wynn, who is focused on the technical side. So I think between the three of us, we'll be able to answer questions both regarding the overall USX technology, its architecture and usefulness in the software-defined data center, as well as the business aspects of how to make money and what the next steps might be moving forward to become part of the Atlantis Computing as well as the software-defined data center ecosystem. So we'll go ahead and start going through the slides. Forward would be better. And just give a quick introduction to those folks that may not be familiar. I realize that some of you on the line today are current partners of Atlantis in some of our other products. All others are new. So we'll make this brief, but just real quickly, first and foremost, Atlantis Computing delivers products that are 100% software. And this is principally drives the ability to work with really any server architecture, any storage infrastructure, any hypervisor, and work in a data center to provide really the key value, which is really being able to use less storage or perhaps getting more out of the existing storage you have, serving up better performance to applications that are running in the virtual environment, be they desktop applications or in this case with Atlantis ILIO USX, server-oriented, data-oriented, these type applications at the server level. And doing so while providing really a lot fewer risks as your data center or your applications or your users increase, being able to deploy additional capacity and additional users and application support through automated deployment, ensure that you have full high availability and disaster recovery support, and really use that fast provisioning and so forth to get these solutions out in the market. We're unique in that we provide, really the only company to provide an in-memory storage capability, which what that means is to be able to virtualize and use server RAM as a basis for either primary storage for things like performance and so forth relative to the application, as well as a tiered storage capability. And this is very unique to us and is based on a fairly rich patent-pending set of technologies that are involving the optimizations associated with virtualizing storage. And some of those are listed here, the I/O processing, inline duplication, compression, and so forth. We've really grown over the last few years with our products. We've got strong deployments and a lot of operational expertise and a lot of people that are very well skilled in both architecting and deploying virtual storage solutions in the data center. We have some of the largest implementations in the world and in fact do have a worldwide presence, and some of the folks on the line represent many countries. You know, in fact, I think over half of our revenue is from outside the United States, so we're truly a worldwide presence. Being involved in the software-defined data center or data centers in general, we have found the ecosystem to be very rich with a lot of partners. We work hard to work closely with them to develop joint solutions, to provide our joint customers with seamless capabilities to grow and take advantage of that performance, that capacity. And I think becoming a reseller of this new product line furthers that in taking our historical products and really serving them up for a lot of large applications and data center capabilities at the server level. We've got a lot of awards. We've done quite a bit to get to work with some of the major virtualization players, and have gone from there with a lot of reference architectures and blueprints for developing solutions across all those resellers. In fact, people like VMware, I think a lot of you are working with, if not all of you are VMware resellers, and we've worked closely with them to provide, among others, to provide reference architectures and a lot of deployment and informational support for building out these solutions. It's probably worth exploring a little bit how we got into this situation. And very quickly, I mean, certainly you're all involved in VMware and virtualized solutions. I think what's interesting is that over the last 10 years, through largely a lot of the efforts that VMware has put into their market growth, the number of virtual machines that have grown and evolved in the data center has increased dramatically. I think it is now something to the point of 70–75% of all servers are deployed as virtual machines now, and this sprawl has really resulted in not only very efficient compute resource, where I'm putting multiple servers, multiple virtual servers on a single hardware compute instance, but it also has dictated a significant growth in storage. Many of the analysts are talking about something on the order of 40% per year, which equates to doubling your storage every 2 years. Truly not a sustainable scenario. Not only the space and power infrastructure that's required to support that kind of growth, but the operational issues and so forth that are required to manage that kind of growth are very significant. So there really has needed to be an answer to that problem. Gartner, in fact, has seen it, and has as recently as October, submitted some predictions that, things like 3 out of the top 7 disk array vendors, are going to start to consolidate because of the need to really focus and become more efficient in things, and that software itself will cause data center managers to deploy higher quality offerings to improve their ability to manage the growth in storage. So there's a lot of people looking at this space, a lot of analysts prognosticating on where this is going to go. So enter the software-defined data center. What's happened in that software-defined data center, and when we first started seeing that, maybe there's an eye roll that says, wow, that's kind of a trite, overused statement, software-defined data center, but the concepts are very real, and started, with the notion of pooling and abstracting compute resources to support multiple virtual servers in one particular instance. Pooling and abstracting that compute power, serving it up as a single compute resource to a number of applications, and taking advantage, therefore, of capacity, load balancing, and so forth. That's important to the smooth running of a data center and eliminating a lot of the wasted space relative to compute cycles that existed prior to this evolution. But what happened was that this evolved, but storage remained rather static. It continued to be siloed, focused around the particular application that it was designed to support. As a result, became inflexible, and a lot of unused capacity and, frankly, unused performance. Both cases, kind of show up. So the notion that we're talking about in the context of software-defined data center is software-defined storage, which we do through all software, which we'll talk about in a minute, but really drives the pooling and abstracting of the storage resource, any storage resource, from SAN, NAS to direct attach, flash, and SATA drives, really anything that you might see out there, including cloud resources for that matter, that can be pooled and abstracted and served up to the compute infrastructure as a single data store to support the application, giving it great flexibility in terms of the capacity it optimizes, as well as the performance that it increases, allowing you to do more on that storage at a higher performance level regardless of what that storage is. And that abstraction is what we're talking about now with our current webinar. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Keyes, who will kind of walk you through our product family and the Atlantis ILIO USX platform and how you might use that to integrate with your portfolio of products and, again, really make more money, make higher margin money, develop services and so forth that really have you stand out in this fast-growing, exciting industry in market space. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Thanks, Bob. So good morning, everyone. Just a quick bit of history on the different products that Atlantis Computing has. Of course, we cut our teeth with the VDI space, with first coming out with a diskless, stateless type product where we process VDI as an in-memory kind of storage where you can minimize or even not utilize the shared storage for processing VDI, and that expanded out into a persistent VDI type solution, which really addresses all the VDI kinds of scenarios. We then expanded also out into virtualizing or enabling the virtualization of XenApp, really filling out that space. Turns out that in terms of workloads, that really is only about 10% of the virtualized workloads that are out there. The other 90% are server virtualized server workloads, and really that's what's exciting about Atlantis ILIO USX, that we now start to address the entirety of the virtualized workloads with what we can do with software-defined storage. So what does it look like for enabling software-defined data center using those buzzwords? What does it really give you? Now that we're expanding out across this, we're talking about applying these same optimizations to any workload. Doesn't matter whether it's a desktop server or cloud, we can then take these workloads and apply them to any kind of storage. That storage being local attached, whether it's direct attached storage, spinning disk, or flash, the NAS or the SAN, or even into cloud-based storage systems. What this allows you to do is, in the same fashion, we're talking about the pooling and abstracting these storages. We pool and abstract these types of storage, even including their different types of workloads that they're made available to. Those that are really fast but are limited capacity, we can pool together. Those that are massive capacity but maybe don't have quite the performance, we can pool those as well and add the performance to them and so forth. We also pool the RAM and drive that for peak performance with any virtual machine. Even storage that's at a lower tier, we can drive at a high performance. And gives you new options and flexibility for how you can deal with storage without having to care about the type. What this gives you then is, in essence, a easy way to have mobility across the different storage as well as across the different data centers themselves. And you mix all that together with some of the configurations and automation tools that we've got, it gives you truly a on-demand, push-button way to scale out provisioning, configuration, and so forth. That's what we're talking about in the software-defined data center. All of this, of course, while it's a new product for Atlantis ILIO USX, really we should be talking about the over 20 petabytes of virtual storage we already have in production, including mission-critical solutions, over 500 mission-critical deployments today. One single site already spanning 100,000 virtual machines on this technology. This is a very solid and robust solution in today's world. So let's talk about the platform itself and the different pieces that you get from this. The first step, of course, are the secret sauce of Atlantis ILIO. This is the key components of doing inline deduplication, the compression of the stream, fast snapshots, the I/O acceleration. It gives you two key aspects of this. One, it's going to dramatically improve the performance. The in-memory processing of that storage, boosting the performance to, regardless by a significant amount, like 5 times. So if you've got 1 terabyte of physical storage, now you can present up to 5 terabytes of and is with the new VSAN announcement and things that are going on there, to take local direct attached storage, whether it's a spinning disk or local flash, converge that with RAM, abstract that, and provide the same capabilities on it, that we expand it out, give you more capacity as well as more performance. Third kind of solution you can look at is more of an in-memory. If you've got instead of using storage at all, process the entire solution in memory, giving you maximum amount of performance. If you think about applications that could really benefit from an entirely run in-memory solution, think of databases or big data, giving you just unparalleled performance. And finally, looking at a hybrid kind of storage where using any resource, including a resource of cloud-based storage, and optimizing and pooling that, and just persisting the final bits out there. Also have, as we talked about, some of the abilities to take any of these pieces and move them around, give you true mobility regardless of the types of underlying storage. If you want to replicate from one type of shared storage to another, well, we got a solution for that. It's all built in because of how the technology works. If you want to replicate between data centers or between the cloud, we can provide all these things to enable this global file replication across all these environments. And finally in the platform is the management and operationalization type tools to help bring it all together. Include tools for provisioning, configuration, deployment, include some of the automation tools allowing you to fast provision VMs across the data center and across other environments, and really with the integration of orchestration tools, VCAC and Cloud Stack, to enable the configurations, the monitoring, management, and all of this is available through REST-based APIs, enabling a full integration of whatever orchestration platform you've got. So digging a bit deeper into the Atlantis ILIO technology itself, you have to understand how it works together with the hypervisor and the virtual machines. In essence, Atlantis ILIO is a virtual machine that will sit on each hypervisor that it is optimizing, and in essence serves itself up as an abstraction layer to the storage that's being utilized, and then works together with the RAM there to optimize that. What that does then, in sitting between each of the virtual machines and the storage, is that as the virtual machines need storage, they'll have a high, pretty chatty kind of storage throughput that they're going through. And what you'll see that Atlantis does is take that chattiness and using RAM and RAM speeds, reduces that with all the rest of the coolness of deduplication and compression down to just the final little bits, seeing really a 95% reduction in the requirements of the underlying storage. And that final bit is what either gets stored just in RAM or persisted out to whatever kind of storage is there. This is the secret sauce that allows Atlantis Computing to optimize these resources. It's not just about pooling, abstracting the resources. It's about optimizing these resources to get the most out of it. So, it's the fact that we figured out how to store in RAM instead of disk that led to our VDI deployments that are completely without any storage. So let's talk about how this gets implemented. We talked a little bit about the Atlantis ILIO virtual machine on the hypervisor, and as that gets put together, then we put all of our secret sauce in place, and each of the virtual machines get served up to that. We then use vSphere to the rest of the virtual machines. We serve ourselves up as either an MS or iSCSI. We perform all these I/O optimizations that go through our layer. In essence, to vSphere, we just look like another VMDK and on the underlying storage, and that's how it all works together. then that can be expanded out. In terms of the different kinds of storage that are there, of course, we pick up on the different clusters that are there. So a VSAN appears just like any other SAN, and we can tie that into the rest of the orchestration systems. So regardless of the type of storage that's included, we work with that kind of storage that's available and provide the integrations as needed, as well as taking vSAN and expanding it out. So some of the cool features then you get with this are true policy-based controls that are only available in this software-defined world, that at any moment, just like you think about virtualized compute and virtualized memory resources, now you can take virtualized capacity and its performance and adjust the policy around how much capacity, how much performance do you want to give it, what's the kind of availability you want to have. And include with that the ability to isolate the performance of individual virtual machines so they don't dominate the storage resources from other virtual machines, as well as make available all those tools of the storage services that give you your ability to have your high availability, use your vSphere to its fullest, provisioning, automation, and bringing those pieces together. You've been selling all of these types of storage already, and what's adding to your platform here is your ability to now optimize how these things are utilized. This gives you the ability to do more with your current customers, to give them other kinds of options of how to look at their environment versus just selling more storage or helping them in just more of a tactical problem. So, and bringing these pieces together and a bit deeper on the USX side, really what happens in the abstracting and pooling is that there's two types of pools that are created by Atlantis ILIO USX. The first pool is a capacity pool, and again, that takes advantage of any of the storage resources that are there, SAN, NAS, your DAS, your vSAN, or even cloud, and we've talked about that, but also gives you the ability to take advantage of RAM pools and pool those across servers, whether it's server RAM or server flash. And those are offered up as both a capacity pool and a memory pool. And both those pools across the cluster are made available to all virtual machines, and then controlled by policy. This is where it gives you the ability to make some really interesting type policy-based configurations of different kinds of solutions. One, for example, you can pool your SAN, NAS, and flash like we've been talking about, and create a true optimized shared storage in-memory RAM addresses the latency, and you get high performance with it. This is great for those very large storage or not as performance intensive as needed, but really leveraging the capacity that's there. For those applications, though, that are looking for really true in-memory performance and being completely run in memory, we have an answer for that. By pooling the different memory resources across the servers, you can take your big data solutions and turbocharge them so that they will get unparalleled performance, as well as reduce the amount of storage that they actually utilize. In terms of all flash arrays having limited capacity, you can now break that barrier and pool and optimize those. You get sort of a double whammy there in that because you reduce the physical capacity required, you get that boost there, as well as the ability to break the all flash array ultimate capacity and pool them into a single pool and utilize them. And then, of course, they hyperconverge, where you bring together local disk resources and pool those without even utilizing any kind of shared storage, leveraging the benefits of making true enterprise-class storage out of any local attached storage. So really then, if you look at the total benefits of what you can do with Atlantis ILIO USX, you do more with the storage you already have. In other words, start thinking about how you can change what's in the data center of your customers. Do for your customers the same thing that VMware did for servers, but do it for the larger storage market. Look to ways that you can consolidate with increased capacity. and utilization, improved performance. All this protects their investments and your investments and drives up your storage utilization rates for existing storage. This will help you in all aspects. This is a true software-defined storage solution. You're going to boost performance with unique in-memory storage for any application. You're going to drive your IOPS from RAM. There's nothing faster than RAM. This gives you more flexibility in the data center. Gives you the ability to not only link up and pool VSAN, but expands out to SAN, NAS, or any other kind of solution, as well as roll your own hyper-converged data centers. Create your own type of storage optimized for that particular application, able to expand out and extend simply by adding more resources or adjusting the configurations as it goes. So as you think about this, you can see the differences that you'll find. More capacity, more performance. I know we've talked just a bit about this, but for those of you that aren't familiar with VSAN, what is it? I know I've mentioned it a couple times. Just a quick hit on VMware's release of VSAN to take, in essence, local flash and local hard disks to abstract them and pool them just for VMware and into the vSphere integration. It can use flash as cache and offers this up. So gives you a common data store then that's available to the virtual machines. And of course to Atlantis USX, that's great. We can take that solution and extend it and optimize it by giving it even more capacity, roughly a factor of 5, as I mentioned, and more performance by a factor of 6. But we not only extend it with that, we give you another set of flexibility that you can take those vSphere and now integrate it into a common pool with the rest of the kinds of storage that's out there, and bring all these things up into a common layer, as well as extend out and offer this out, whether it be cloud-based or offer any of these storage types directly into into other hypervisors as storage itself. So gives you some really unique benefits. You can have more flexibility with the ability to pool. You get to boost the performance. You increase the storage capacity. Multiple front ends, multiple ways to integrate this, whether it's iSCSI, whether it's NFS, or different ways. You can tune these workloads as you need it. You get the cloud storage integration. All this is policy-based and adjustable via software. And finally, it gives you the ability to actually utilize VSAN on blade servers. So with that, I will turn it back to Bob and walk us through next steps.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Good intro, good overview of the technology in USX. Appreciate it. I mean, bottom line, you're getting increased performance, better use of capacity, and a lot of flexibility into how a data center storage resource can be served up to a variety of applications to best suit the needs of the customer. And I think that the you know, you start to think about the next steps, and you start to think adding this. You know, think back to perhaps some of your decisions in 10 years ago, and you're wondering why you should start to sell virtualization, in this case VMware ESX, when it means you would be selling fewer servers. And of course, we've seen what's happened there. The takeoff of the virtual machines and the appetite for additional services, additional products, and certainly the growth in the data center in terms of opportunities to sell service and products has done nothing but explode as a result of the presence of virtual machines and the virtual compute architecture associated with them. We're talking about the same thing. We're doing for storage what VMware did for servers. So the opportunity to do all those same things, sell increased services, additional products, be very strategic with your customers as they build out their data centers is there. And that provides a lot of benefits from a channel partner, from a reseller point of view. It provides differentiation. Now you're not selling another 10 terabytes or so of storage. You're actually getting in and helping to define as a strategic partner with a customer, selling higher, getting into more opportunities, and being able to really get a seat in the boardroom as people start to talk about the strategy and evolution of the data center and space, as green initiatives start to come down and look at how can I run a data center with less power, with less resource, you become part of that discussion, which, knowledge is power, and that provides, higher margin. And we used to say once upon a time, where there's complexity, there's margin, and being able to really implement these kinds of things and be an expert gives you that margin, and of course more services. So those, you're not just, transporting a box or a disk or a software download to a customer. You're actually providing the service to both recommend and architect, but also to implement a very strategic part of the company and of your customer. And doing all that gives you really an unfair advantage from the standpoint of what you might be able to do with the channel partner down the street or down the other side of town or whatever it might be, to really say, okay, we can solve a much bigger problem than just putting a finger in the dike and providing a couple extra terabytes to solve a very tactical issue. And that's really a big deal about what this kind of thing does. And if you think about getting on the ground floor of a evolution into software-defined storage, think about those people that got on the ground floor of virtualized compute power with VMware and where they are today with their business. It's really that same kind of scenario. We're very excited about the product and the prospect of working with you. We introduced this initially in February and have been working in the field with a very controlled release and some significant implementations. The pricing itself is going to be based on the raw capacity associated with the storage that it's optimizing, and excuse me, we'll be able to offer some introductory pricing, and I think really a theme here about next steps is to get in touch with your Atlantis rep, or if you're new, get in touch with sales and start the dialogue with our teams, so you can start to get on the ground floor with this product and be right there when we start to open up the spigot in terms of getting this out in full-on production mode by the end of this month. Again, we encourage you to go on, get an evaluation code. We're going to start opening up the capabilities to not only try it out, but become a reseller here, and now's a great time to start that dialogue. We are going to be providing certification and looking for our partners to be certified so they can be that trusted advisor in the boardroom to be able to be successful with this product. And those courses we expect to come available next month. So that'll start to really set you up for the latter part of the second half of the year to be rocking and rolling with this new solution. And as of now, in fact, we have weekly training webinars that are available that we can direct you to through the reps or contacting Atlantis Computing directly. There are a lot of resources up on the AtlantisComputing.com website. In fact, we've just this week updated the the ILIO USX section on the website to provide a significant amount of resource. Of course, we have the press release. We have a solution brief, which talks a lot about using the product along with VMware VSAN, which, of course, tied closely with some of the recent push and announcement activity that VMware has had, not only with VSAN, but also yesterday's announcement with Horizon View. And in fact, the solution brief and some of our efforts have been, working hand in glove with them throughout those announcements. We have, a number of blogs, both on the products and the technology, but also the relationship. There's analyst reports. And something that's kind of fun is the Crazy Fast Persistent VDI, which is in fact a desktop virtualization solution, but one which you can get access to very quickly and give you a sense of the kind of performance and capacity savings and that you might be able to see by the technology and imagine those applied to these server workloads. And then, as a result of ILIO USX, getting access to that part of that market, that server workload market. So a lot of cool resources and enablement tools as well that Rick has really helped, is helping spearhead with a very rich set of resources in the field that can provide a lot of capability. These are links that are available in our ecosystem for both training. There's certification classes now for a lot of the products, and many of you have taken those. They have a forum. We have ROI calculators that are associated with both CapEx and OpEx kind of savings. A lot of webinars, guides, and resources, and in fact, the opportunity to go onto our site and actually build out a business plan for your products where you can get assistance from our field reps and our enablement teams. So quite a bit there to help you that will only get more rich with information associated with this move into the software-defined data center in the context of server workloads. So in summary, we think we have a product that is really revolutionary in terms of what it's doing for the data center, comparative to what VMware did for servers once upon a time, and is still doing from the standpoint of the growth associated with data center activity. We have an opportunity to work with you. You have an opportunity to be a strategic partner of ours and to therefore be a key advisor to your customers in their transitions and evolution in the data center. Really, and perhaps the most important thing that you never want to lose sight on, our job in the enablement team is to work with you through and with our field teams to help you drive revenue and give you that unfair advantage which provides that margin. So we encourage you to become a reseller. You can do that through our website, sending a note to sales at atlantiscomputing.com, or going ahead and filling out the form on the atlantiscomputing.com/free trial, where you can get the evaluation. Either way, you will be put into the queue, and we'll be talking to you about that. So with that, I think we'll turn it over to some questions and answers. Carrie, I don't know if we have some of those that have come in, and I'll remind you that we have Lynn here who's patiently been monitoring things, and any of the deep dive questions can certainly offer a lot of support for. So with that.
Okay, our first question is, which VM operating systems are supported by USX?
Which operating system? That's a good question. The VM operating systems that are supported by USX are basically all of the operating systems that are supported by the hypervisors. Today we do support ESX. Moving forward, we will be supporting multiple hypervisors in the field.
Can Atlantis ILIO USX create a hyper-converged infrastructure?
Absolutely. A number of customers have asked us, a number of partners have asked us about this as well, and Atlantis ILIO USX can pool local storage resources such as SAS, flash, SSD, RAM, and so forth to really create a hyper-converged infrastructure, very similar to some of the ones you've seen out there, some of the hardware vendors that just completely sell hyper-converged infrastructures. So this software gives you the ability to create your own, sell that as your own brand and your own solution, being a little bit more strategic to your customers.
What type of storage can be used?
As we talked through the presentation, all the number of storages that are available: SAN, NAS, flash arrays, local direct attach, SATA, SAS, flash, and so forth, including the virtual SAN by VMware.
Okay, and then our last question is, does USX provide high availability?
Absolutely, and that's one of the key features that USX provides. I mean, its capacity, its performance, but also availability to all of the applications that you have sitting on top of your VMware ESX hypervisor today. So there's no single point of failure. This platform has been developed from the ground up to support mission-critical applications, and availability as well as DRS functionalities are supported at a VM level.
Okay, thank you, Rick. That was all the questions we had for today. You should be receiving a follow-up email with a link to a copy of today's presentation. Thank you for all the attendees for making time and for your questions. We hope you can join us for our next webinar. Thank you and have a great day.